غریب خیر
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اصغر یہ کیا ادا تھی کہ خاطر بھی رو دیے اصغر یہ کیا ادا تھی کہ خاطر بھی رو دیے تم نے بہت ظلم الٹ دے ہنسی کے ساتھ سے بات
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
خدا کے دین تیری زندگی نہیں بدلی خدا کے دین تیری زندگی نہیں بدلی گھٹا میں چاند رہا مگر چاندنی نہیں بدلی خدا کے دین تیری یہ تجربہ تو ہوا بارہ مرتبہ ایسا چراغ بدلے مگر روشنی نہیں بدلی خدا کے دین تیری سلام
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا وسيد الأولين والآخرين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتخبين المنتجبين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض الحجة بن الحسن أرواحنا له الفداء. The loudest of our salawat for the ta'jeel of his faraj. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
As we said yesterday, and inshallah we'll continue tonight, identity is something that's very important for us to not only come to grasp with, but to actively pursue. And that is because everything naturally has to be identified not for what we assume it to be, but for what it is actually supposed to be. We may call a tree by different names in different languages. So in Arabic, the word tree would be shajara. In English, the word tree is tree. We may call it different names, but we all have similar understandings of what this tree is. We understand that it can give us fruit, that it is a living entity, it requires water, fertilizer, so on and so forth. Our interaction with it is an agreement that we accept it is a tree regardless that we call it different. But if we begin to have conversations with the tree and talk to it like it's a human being and so on and so forth, and we still call it a tree, we call it by what it's supposed to be called, but we treat it different, we haven't treated it as a tree should be. Now people will look at us and say we are majnoon, we're lunatics. We have lost our sanity because we don't know how to interact with a thing the way it should be interacted with. And humans generally tend to hold the same level of understanding in all different societies of whatever different classes. However, when it comes to the mistreatment of awliya Allah fi ardih, when we see people disrespect the anbiya and the awsiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and treat them as if they are normal human beings, they're not treating them the way Allah has ordained they should be treated. We treat them like they are normal human beings. Nobody says anything about that. And if we speak in their defense, then we are radical. And nobody wants to be radical in this day and age. We all want to be contemporary, modern, revolutionized Muslims, because we want to be accepted in mainstream society, because the peer pressure on us is so strong. When someone draws pictures of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and depicts him as a terrorist by drawing, missiles in his holy turban and making him seem as if he is, a vile person, wal-iyadu billah. No. Allah called him rahmatan lil alameen. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We did not send you for any other purpose except to be a mercy unto mankind. That's okay, they can do that. The moment we speak up, we are radical. We're terrorists. Or we're sympathizers. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's okay, don't worry about it. But a normal human being of no standing in society, we haven't heard of any of their achievements or any of their accomplishments or anything that they have rendered of a service to humanity. A human being who can be completely selfish at times because the whole issue is about them as an individual, but they happen to be the son or daughter of an influential person, or they have some financial means. They can lobby and they can change the whole country's point of view about a subject pertaining to that individual's likes and wants and needs, yes? Then we have to become politically correct and we cannot address them in a certain way. The law now decides that you cannot talk to people in a certain way. You cannot discriminate against this particular group of people. But the group of anbiya, the group of awsiya, they are to be mocked. We see it in the cartoons and we see it everywhere else. And now there's an underlying problem here. One is on a complete inclusive humanitarian level or a human level, and then there is an inclusive one which is particular to the Muslim community as the last community of believers. If there was no Islam, then this would be true of Christianity as the last community. We're talking just about the last and final community. No other divine revelation will come to a community thereafter. On a human level, sometimes we don't tend to care for an issue unless it's our own. That's understandable. On a human level, we don't tend to care for an issue unless it's our own. Okay, couple of emails and Facebook messages came at the time of Trump's election or ascension to the throne, if you will. It's interesting. The communications all have a general thread, and the general idea is this one of the signs of Qiyamah? Honestly speaking, is this one of the signs of the end of days? Because one of the things that Trump said as soon as he got into power is I'm going to put a ban on 7 Muslim nations. Okay, 7 Muslim nations are no longer welcome here in the United States. The same thing that's been applicable to Mexicans, mind you, for a very long time. That you're not welcomed into the United States, and we're going to not just not welcome you, we're going to build a wall, or rather, you're going to build a wall, okay, to keep yourself out of our country. And this particular group of people who decided to, take it upon themselves and spread this, how can I say this, Antichrist, final Armageddon, end of day scenario, they said it's the end of the world. I said, why? They said, because the oppression on the Muslims is about to begin. So, the oppressions on the Muslims is about to begin. So this, in your point of view, is the end of the world. It's a sign of Qiyamah. Okay. What about the African American who gets shot every day on the streets? Is that not oppression? Could that not be a sign of Qiyamah? If you're saying that the fact that we may become oppressed, we may be shot without any, kind of laws that protect us, and now it's just non-discriminate shooting of anyone who's brown with a beard or any woman with a scarf, a hijab. I mean, maybe it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, mind you, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, it never does. But this is a maybe, but there's a reality that's happening here in the US where if you're African American, chances are you will get shot. It's the reality we see in the news. Was that not a sign of Qiyamah? Okay. When other people are being slaughtered and killed and oppressed, it doesn't concern us. But the day that something may happen to us, now we say, okay, Allah, you have to save us now, right? So we, even as human beings, no matter how religious or irreligious we may be, we will naturally tend to think of ourselves. White people are scared of zombies, it's true. I have conversations with people, I travel a lot. And when the zombies come and we're ready and we've got a basement full of food and we've got guns and we're not going to let anyone in, right? It's their version of the Armageddon. It's whatever, it's fine. Different people have different thought processes. But the idea is that we all think, nafsi, nafsi, right? Myself, myself. We as a Shia community now have even a bigger problem. It's that same level of thinking, but now it's more on a unique level, okay? In this day and age, we even as a Shia people have kind of divided ourselves even further. Much, much further. Now we're down to which marja'iyah do you follow? And then we went beyond that, which Imam Barga do you go to? We've become exclusive to one place. And the world, we perceive it in all its problems and its progression and its regress is all through what? Based on that small community thinking that we have. The problems that happen within a small center become the biggest issues in the world. And when there are no problems, then we are happy. The Quran describes such thinking. That whenever something good is going on in a person's life, they are the most righteous. They're so happy, life is good. And the moment they are challenged, then that's it, that's the end of the world. So this is kind of just a foundation on how the mechanics of human thinking and human feelings have been throughout history. Where the problem really stems and where the problem really shows itself on our level of this engagement with Anbiya and Awsiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we want to bring it back full circle, is the following. When there is an attack on Rasulullah in the media, we are outspoken. But South Park, Family Guy, all these different cartoons and different movies that come out and make mockery of Isa ibn Maryam and his mother Al-Hawra Maryam alayhim salamullah. Yes? On TV, they've been making fun of Jesus and Mary for the longest time. Musa alayhi salamullah for the longest time. Why don't we go out and protest that? Why is it only when Muhammad is mocked, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that we go out? Yesterday we ended up on the conclusion that we as a Muslim community do not disconnect with any of the Anbiya. We believe in all of them, from Adam to Khatam. We believe and accept them all. The Quran clearly states our position there. It directs our position there. There is a flip side to that coin, which kind of makes us think that if we talk about Rasulullah, we love him. If we don't mention him, then we don't love him. That's not true. That's not where the Islamic perspective on Rasulullah is. Islam says if you love Rasulullah and you protect Rasulullah, then you must love all that is associated to him and protected by him. We have the ziyarah that we recite called daily ziyarah. The ziyarah every day is specified to a specific wasi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Saturday, it is makhsus ziyarah. Inshallah, tomorrow after Fajr is the recommended time to be recited. Saturday is a makhsus ziyarah for Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sunday is a makhsus ziyarah for Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen Fatimah al-Zahra alayhim afdal as-salatu was-salam. Monday is makhsus ziyarah specific for Sayyidi Shababi al-Jannah al-Hasani wal-Hussain alayhim afdal as-salatu was-salam. And then as you go throughout the days, we have Thursday, which is Talatha, is makhsus for 3 Imams who are joined in a similar theme of madlumiyya and oppression, and their attempts to further education. Specifically, it's Zainul Abidin and Baqir al-Nabiyyin and Sadiq al-Qawli wal-Fi'l Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. On Wednesday, we have the 4 Imams who are all madlumeen within the prison systems that they were forced, removed. They share that common theme, and that they are from Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salamullah, Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salamullah, Imam Muhammad ibn Ali, and Imam Ali ibn Muhammad, who are all moved and placed in different prisons. And Thursday is makhsus specifically for the Imam who is the father of the awaited Hujjah, Al-Imam Al-Askari alayhi salamullah, is makhsus. Thursday is his ziyarah alayhi salatu wasalam, sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa Muhammad. And Friday, Yawm al-Jum'ah, is specifically makhsus for the Hujjah himself, because we believe that his Yawm al-Hud will be on Yawm al-Jum'ah, inshallah, sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa Muhammad. Connect with these ziyarahs. Really connect with these ziyarahs. Read them in English, read them in Urdu, read them in any language where you can understand what they are saying, and you'll have a better connection with your Imam. Each Imam on that day, you will understand a certain element of their life, and it will become noticeable for you that why this day is given to them. Within all these ziyarahs, we say one thing: O Hujjah of Allah, you who have been deputized by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lead us as humans back to Allah. Yesterday we said tasbih is a journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are swimming in the ocean of life to reach the shores of Allah's rahmah. Tasbih comes from the same concept in Arabic as swimming, sibaha, right? Therefore, you are in a journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This journey requires direction. It requires someone to take me there. In this day and age, on land, when I want to move, I have to have a GPS of some sort. I have to have a map with me that will take me somewhere. If I don't know, if I don't have that, I ask the local person, somebody who knows the area. So therefore, humans were always in need of a guide. I can find one guide who will say to me, just go straight down this road, you take a left. That's one guide, okay? The other guide could be, is that end of the road there is a sign. That sign itself is a guide, because it told me that I've come to the end of the direction where the other person has told me, correct? Right? Because it said to me, go to the end of the road. Another sign, another name of a road indicates to me that this road has come to an end. I'm not from the area, so I have another indicator. One sign differs to another sign. One sign is a minor sign, one sign is a great sign. Naba'u Azim, Ayah Kubra, as Allah mentions them in the Quran al-Karim. As a human being, I shouldn't be disrespectful to any of the helps and methods which I received to finally reach my objective. Therefore, I shouldn't disrespect the street sign and vandalize it because I say, well, it didn't tell me what the guy told me, but it was still a sign. I still respect it. In the long journey of humans to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we respect every sign of Allah, every ayah of Allah, which came in the form of a Nabi or a wasi of a Nabi. Adam taught us something that humanity, its level was raised and moved on. Ibrahim taught us many things. That's why Allah mentions them in the Quran Kareem. So therefore, of every prophet in their lifetime, I can take lessons to better understand my life, to better understand the life of a Muslim, a mu'min, a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a believer in divine laws. As a community, we want to identify, that's where we go to get our identity from. We must take an all-inclusive approach to all the Anbiya and Awsiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people attack us specifically as a Shia community and say, you talk about Imam Hussain alayhi salam all the time, you talk about Imam Ali all the time, you talk about Fatima al-Zahra, you don't talk about Muhammad enough. It's one of the claims, right? That we don't love Rasulullah enough because we don't talk about him enough. In their understanding is that if we talk about somebody else, we haven't spoken about Rasulullah. In our understanding, we say no, we take the understanding of the Quran Kareem. The Quran Kareem mentions Musa more than it mentions Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes? So, are we saying that Allah loves Musa more than Rasulullah? Musa is called Kareemullah, yes?
Yeah.
Muhammad is Habibullah. No other prophet has this title. No other prophet. No other creation except Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. In Ziyarat Ali Yasin we say وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ لَا حَبِيبَ إِلَّا هُوَ وَأَهْلُهُ. I attest that there is no one beloved to Allah like Muhammad and his family. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi majma'in. When we look at this ziyarah, or when we look at this concept in the Quran Kareem, talking about Musa doesn't mean that we're talking less about Rasulullah. No. Musa is the example who will make us understand Rasulullah. We cannot understand who is Muhammad. This is a concept that it's not Nusayri or anything as such. This is the reality of who is Ali Muhammad. Ayatollah Khomeini Quddus Sirah, when he established the Islamic Revolution or the Islamic Republic of Iran, began to give a series of speeches about the Ahlul Bayt. The ulama of the Hawza Almiya wrote to him requesting that he stops those classes immediately because people do not fully comprehend what is being said, and it is borderline making people have this Nusayri mentality, borderline. Okay? That they may begin to take the Ahlul Bayt and worship them, for example. Not that the Ahlul Bayt ever desired such a thing. Ayatollah Khomeini said that this is the knowledge of the Ahlul Bayt and agreed that it's not for everybody to come to that. You have to first have a strong foundation in Tawheed and Aqaid and so on and so forth. Therefore, he nominated Ayatollah Bohnor and Ayatollah Beheshti to stand at the door of the classroom in the Hawza and said, if someone has not got 23 years of Hawza studies, they cannot enter this classroom. You cannot enter this classroom because you need to have such strong aqaid in Tawheed and Aqidah in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you come and you hear what I'm going to tell you about the Ahlul Bayt. Their level is so strong, my brothers and sisters, and this is truth, that there is a hadith which we all can go and find about a man by the name of Hammam. Hammam is a Sahabi of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Hammam came to Imam Ali alayhi salam and he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, describe to me the muttaqeen. So if I said to you the muttaqeen, is there anyone more muttaqi than Muhammad and Ali Muhammad? You can't say it. They are the guidance and the hidayah of everything. So therefore, if we know what is a muttaqi, we only knew a muttaqi because we understood them. They are the muttaqi. Hammam asks Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, describe the muttaqeen for me. Imam Ali alayhi salam Allah says, Hammam, ask me a different question. He says, no, Imam, tell me about the muttaqeen. He says, please, find a different question. He says, now you have made me more eager. I ask you by Allah, describe for me the muttaqeen. You are an imam. It is wajib upon you to answer people when they ask you a question. Ali ibn Abi Talib says, ask me before you lose me. Hammam says, describe the muttaqeen. Imam says, ask me something else. And this I don't want to answer for you. Because Hammam continued to insist, Imam begins to describe the muttaqeen. Oh Hammam, they fast long times throughout the day. They stay up long hours of the night. Their flesh is stuck to their bone. They are so thin the wind can blow them in any direction. They are pale in complexion because they are malnourished. And he's describing their lips are broken from the intensity of the thirst. And he's describing the muttaqeen and describing. And Hammam, at the end of the description, the narration says, فَشَهَقَ وَمَاتٍ. Shahaqa means he sighed. Hammam at the end just went, and then he died. Because he realized how far away he was from the ma'rifah of the muttaqeen. Imam Ali in the description, according to all the narrations, was describing himself. Hammam was reading, listening, and seeing Ali ibn Abi Talib. Listening and seeing Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he realized that he is definitely not going to reach where Ali ibn Abi Talib has reached. Just by hearing about the description of the Ahlul Bayt, he died. He couldn't remain alive anymore because he was so far away. Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allah says, by Allah, whomever died his death has died on the death of truth. It is the death of ma'rifah. We have been created for the ma'rifah of the Ahlul Bayt. We don't necessarily need to be, cool or trendy or the next big thing that's going to be on Instagram or whatever it may be. That's for somebody else. We can watch and enjoy the ride with them, and that's fine, and celebrate them if we need to. That's okay. But we're Shia of the Ahlul Bayt. Our creation, our purpose, our existence is to hold on to the ma'rifah of the Ahlul Bayt, the wila of Ahlul Bayt, the love of Ahlul Bayt, the mawadda of the Ahlul Bayt, the tariq of the Ahlul Bayt, the tragedies and the joys of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. And these, we must ensure that the next generation that comes must also be able to carry them, and we give it to them as an amana of truth, rightfully so, and then they take it and pass it on into the rest of the community. That's the theory. Where's the practice? In Sahih Muslim, in Sahih Bukhari, in our books, in their books, in all books, we have the hadith of ثقلين إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي أهل بيتي ما إن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا. Indeed, I am leaving amongst you two heavy things, the book of Allah and my Ahlul Bayt. So long as you hold on to them, you shall never go astray, and they shall never depart from one another until they meet me on the day of Qiyamah at the pool of Kawthar. This is what we have as a hadith from all of them. With the exception of in Bukhari, it says the book of Allah and my Sunnah. It doesn't say Ahlul Bayt. Okay. Everybody else agrees Sunnah Ahlul Bayt is the same, so we say Kitab Allah and Ahlul Bayt. One thing we should understand as a Shia community is the first thing that Rasulullah said is Kitab Allah, then Ahlul Bayt. If I want to know Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salamullah, if I want to know Ahlul Bayt, if I want to know Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if I want to know Adam, if I want to know anybody else, I go to the Quran al-Kareem first. Otherwise, I could be believing anything about Ahlul Bayt which is not befitting of them, neither is it true. Is it not true that we all believe in Jesus, the son of Mary, as being a prophet of God? Yes? All Muslim community? But then how many Christians believe he is the son of God? It's the same Jesus we're talking about, correct? What is our proof that he is not son of God? It's the Quran Kareem. What is our proof that he is Nabi? It's the Quran Kareem. Okay. Just the same way that other human beings can understand Isa ibn Maryam wrong, there are people that can misunderstand Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yes? There are people that will say to you, yeah, he's the fourth Khalifa, that's good. Yeah, fourth Khalifa, but always first Imam. There is none of those people before him can claim to be first Imam. The first Khalifa, second, third, yeah. But as an Imam, Ali is the number one. Someone will come and turn around and say to you, Ali ibn Abi Talib is more than just a Khalifa and an Imam. Now we have what we call, the extreme Mughali, who goes and says about Ali what Ali himself and Allah didn't say about Ali ibn Abi Talib, right? So we have the one who can completely disrespect and disregard, and we have the one who can completely go to the other extremes of love. As Imam says, two people shall find their destruction through me. One who is excessive in hating me, and one who is excessive in loving me. He gives me more than should be. So we go to the Quran al-Kareem. And from the Quran al-Kareem, we get better understanding about who are the Anbiya, what is their roles, what is their functions, and what is our role towards them and towards defending their honor and their integrity. Okay. One of the first things about Anbiya, we said yesterday that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his description is tazkiyah. That he recites the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. He recites the ayat of Allah to us and he purifies us. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. He purifies us. We said the only way to be purified is through the mawadda of the Ahlul Bayt, through the love of the Ahlul Bayt, through the love of the Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How do we know this? It has not been emphasized more so than in the Quran Kareem. Number one, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Say, if you love Allah, there's a command from Allah to the Prophet. Say to the people, Ya Rasulullah, Qul. If you truly love Allah, say to the people, if you truly love God, obey me. If you love Allah, obey me. In tuhibbullah, ati'u ar-Rasul. If you love Allah, be obedient to His Prophet. What happens? Allah and the Prophet will love you back. It's a direct command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to love the Prophet. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O you who believe, obey Allah, obey the Prophet, and obey those people who are in authority amongst you, meaning the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, the Wali al-Amr, the people of Amr amongst us. Okay. Again, obedience immediately and love to them. Okay. Another ayah in the Quran Kareem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Say that I do not ask you for any reward except the love of my Ahlul Bayt. Every other prophet before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, do not says, I do not ask you for any reward except that my reward comes from Allah. Innama ajri ala Allah. Everyone. Even in Yasin, one of the biggest arguments given by the believer in Yasin is, why should I not follow these people when they ask me for no ajr? They don't want any reward from me. Why should I not follow the people who are not asking me for anything anyway? And they are rightly guided. So every prophet and everyone who is Hujjah of Allah will always say, I don't want no ajr, I don't want no reward from you, my reward is from Allah. When the people saw Rasulullah being mistreated for bringing the message of peace, they said, let's give him a gift to compensate him for all his hard work. So all the Sahaba put their money together and then they went and bought a really extravagant gift for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They presented this gift to him and Rasulullah said, what is this? They said, this is a gift for you. He said, for what? I haven't done anything. They said, for bringing this message to us and suffering in delivering this message to us. Rasulullah said, take it back. I don't ask you for any reward. My reward is from Allah. Immediately Jibreel descends, he says, no, Allah commands you to say the following, Qul, say, I ask you for no reward except to love my Ahlul Bayt. إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. The haqq of this risala, the direct consequence, because everything's cause and effect, if you are, or if the cause in your life is the Quran, then the effect in your life will be mawaddat Ahlul Bayt. It is a command from the Quran Kareem that haqq al-risala is the mawadda of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhi ajma'in. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Therefore, in the same way that when the Quran talks about Musa, it tells us that it's talking about Rasulullah. When I talk about Imam Hussain, I'm talking about Rasulullah. When I talk about Ali ibn Abi Talib, I'm talking about Rasulullah. When I'm talking about Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen, I'm talking about Rasulullah. When I'm talking about any of the Masumeen, I'm talking about Rasulullah. That is my identity. I should not be apologetic about the identity of my faith. Yes, we live in a shared space and we have to have a certain level of agreeing to disagree and so on and so forth, but I don't need to give up my principles so that somebody else can feel comfortable. If it's a game of someone has to give in, why should it be me? Why can't you give in? And if you have the right to refuse to give in and compromise on your values, then why should I be the one who has to compromise? In the same way that I'm going to accept your disagreement, you have to accept my disagreement. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Say to those who do not believe, you do not believe in what I believe, I do not believe in what you believe. There is no hope for me to believe in what you believe, and there is no hope for you to believe in my belief. We both come to a conclusion that no one's ever going to believe in the other person's religion. then let us agree. For you is your faith and for us is ours. Lakum dinakum waliya deen. Let's agree to disagree. When it comes to the Ahlul Bayt, why compromise? Why shortchange Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salamullah? Tell me one person who's done for us as human race what Imam Hussain has done for us. Give me one sacrifice that equates to the sandal of Janabi Shah Qasim alayhi salamullah, or Ali al-Akbar, or Abdullah Ali al-Asqar alayhi salamullah. Did Hussain alayhi salamullah not give the best of the families? Why should I shortchange Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salamullah? To appease whom? And for what purpose? And for what objective? The very least thing that I got from Imam Hussain alayhi salamullah is that I learned to live a life with dignity. Hayhat min nadillah. That's the least that I can take from Sayyid al-Shuhada, is that I must live a life of dignity. And he taught me that my dignity begins and ends with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And my contentment in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On Yawm Ashura, despite all that was happening to Sayyid al-Shuhada, he says it beautifully. People asked Imam Hussain, why don't you just give up and give bay'ah to Yazid and just finish this tragedy? Whoa. Why the suffering? The Imam said it's simple. Oh Allah, one who has given up on you, tell me, what did he find to replace you? And the one who is tormented in your way and kept you, what did he lose? It's very simple. Izzat begins and ends with contentment in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can say things about Ahlul Bayt alayhi salamullah. We can talk about how great and lofty they are and so on and so forth, but it doesn't lead us back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we're just playing games. It becomes entertainment. The Quran Kareem doesn't tell us about Musa alayhi salamullah just to give us a story that is nice. No, it's to encourage us to get closer to the ma'rifah of how much we're supposed to do for the way of Allah, how much Rasulullah went. Look at the problems Musa faced. This is what Rasulullah will face. Therefore, when we talk about Ahlul Bayt and our majalis, it's not just to say, well, this happened, here's a story, let's cry about it. No. These are examples. If we're suffering as a community today, they suffered as a community in Karbala, they suffered as a community everywhere else. Let's take lessons from their suffering, and we know the story of their accomplishments and achievements, and let's take that to accomplish something now for them. We are living in a time where we talk about everyone and everything except the most important thing, right? We talk about rights and going out and doing so much work, but then under what direction are we going? We have an event today and we may tell people about Imam Hussain. That's it? Just tell them about Imam Hussain alayhi salamullah? Or we ourselves come to majalis, just come to the majlis and listen to Imam Hussain alayhi salamullah, and then we leave? No. We're living in an age where not just Imam Hussain is unknown, but when Rasulullah is being condemned on TV with the way he's being accused waliyadu billah, of things that are unholy and unbefitting of Rasulullah. Yes? But at the same time, we don't say anything when it comes to other prophets. If Jesus is disrespected and we're quiet, then there is no difference to Isa ibn Maryam, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself being disrespected and we're being quiet. Because it's the institution of Nubuwwah, it's the institution of Imamah, it's the institution of religion and faith that is being condemned, and therefore we must find a common ground and we must act on what Imam al-Hussain alayhi salamullah wants us to do, right? We must act on what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants us to do. But again, it can only be found and taken from the Quran al-Kareem, the Quran al-Majid. We have to come back to the Quran al-Kareem and see what examples, how did they resolve their issues, and we take it and we go out and we resolve issues in society. To hide my faith, to hide my name, to hide my identity, to remove my hijab, that doesn't serve religion, that doesn't serve me, that doesn't serve anyone, anything. You just become accepted, but accepted for what? Accepted for giving up on core principles and values. Conclude on this one story, inshallah, before we go to the dhikr of the Masa'ib of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. There is a brother in Texas, Austin, contemporary, living right now. Shia, Pakistani, immigrant, came to the United States as a student. At the time when the housing market was booming, especially in Houston. So he studies for civil engineering. At the time of his graduation, the market crashes. When the market crashes, people who have 10 years experience above him are losing their jobs. Why would anyone want to recruit him? So desperate at this moment in time, he begins to say, and he writes letters saying, I will work for free, I will work for free, I will work for free. Until he gets to a place, in the end, he breaks down because he's got a few more days and his visa's going to expire. If he doesn't find work, he has to leave. Old lady, Christian lady, she's at the reception desk. He says to her, look, please, I will work even, I will clean the place if I have to. I just need something to keep me here right now. Because I've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, and now the market has crashed. This is completely out of my control. And it's final moments of desperation. She speaks to the manager, they decide to give him a job and so on and so forth. He's working for free for a certain amount of time. The first week of his employment, he's he's having food, lunchtime and so on and so forth. The month of Ramadan begins at the end of that week. The month of Ramadan begins, he comes to work, everyone goes on lunch break, he's still working. Mind you, he's the only one that's not getting paid in the building. So the manager sees this, the manager thinks, well, he must be really poor, he hasn't been getting paid, he's run out of money so he doesn't have food. So the manager comes to him and he says, his name is Ali, I won't share the full name, disclose it. So he says, Ali, you can take a lunch break, it's okay, we're not paying you anyway, take a lunch break, go get some food, go home and eat if you have to. And unknowing, he just turns around, he says, it's Ramadan, and then he just carries on working. So it says the manager at this point pulls a chair and he sits down. He says, what is Ramadan? And he begins to explain to him, telling him how that in the month of Ramadan we fast for X amount of number of hours, simply for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the manager says, but your family's not here. You're by yourself. He said, yeah, I know. He said, there's no Sharia law, it's the South. He said, yeah, I know. He said, then why do you put yourself through this torment? It's the peak of summer in Texas. Why are you doing this to yourself? He says, because God asked me to and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to my Khuda, so I'm going to be obedient. It's a matter of trust. God trusted me to listen. He says, okay. The manager leaves. No more words are exchanged. Ali already begins to feel regret. He thinks, I think I just made myself sound like a terrorist, like an extremist. That I'm so obedient to this God that nobody has seen. What happens the next day, as soon as Ali comes in, he gets called into the management's office. He walks in, management is sitting there, some shareholders are sitting there, and 2 or 3 attorneys are sitting there. Ali thinks, yep, definitely I'm in trouble now. They're probably looking to fire me or something, but they don't want to have a lawsuit on their hand. Mr. Qatar, we are willing to offer you a position as the chair trustee. Not a penny can be moved in this company without your signature. We're going to sponsor your entire family to come to the US, so you don't need to worry about going back home or losing your status. He asks them why. I'm a civil engineer, I know nothing about accounting. You're making me as the chair trustee. For what purpose? They said it's something called trust. You either have it or you don't. There isn't a single person in this room, and we are all friends and we know each other. We do not trust each other the way you have this relationship with your God. A man who denies himself his own food and water just because he believes he is being watched by a higher power is a person that we can trust. Your iman, your faith, your taqwa in Allah should not be hidden. Yusuf alayhi salam, Allah, despite all the calamities that befell him in the Quran, Allah says 2 qualities about him, Sadiqun Ameen. He is honest and trustworthy. His religion, his taqwa and tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed these noble traits within him. If we as individuals or communities give up on Azadar of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, if we give up on our wilayah for Ahlul Bayt, we've done nothing but proven that we have no faith in what we claim to have faith in. And if I can't trust you to believe in what you say you believe in, then what can I really trust you in? You see? Someone who doesn't have faith is okay, that's between them and their God, and whatever they believe in. But if I claim to have faith, and I don't have faith in what I have faith in, then I've shown myself to be non-reliable. This brother, to this day, alhamdulillah, he has the direct ear of the mayor of Austin. And this is a personal story that when I went there, I said, I want to meet with the mayor of Austin, just to have a quick conversation with him. And Brother Ali literally just picks up the phone and he makes a call, and I don't know who he's talking to, because the last thing is when you're talking about Texas, as southern as you're going to get, as red as you're going to get as an East State, and you say you want to see the mayor of one of the big cities, and a brown guy is sitting in the room, he's the last person you expect who's going to be able to have him on speed dial. And he picks it up, calls the mayor, gets off the phone, he says to me, "You've got a meeting with him tomorrow in the morning." So how comes you have the ear of such a person like that? It's about trust. When we be able to follow, and when we are true to the values and the principles of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, it makes a different character. I wouldn't say it makes us better than anybody else. There are other people who are equally as trustworthy, right? But it makes us different. It differentiates us, and it gives us a character that is not to be found anywhere else except here, in the Imam Barga of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. And therefore we must utilize the Imam Bargas, and we must utilize this space and the time which Allah has allocated for the gham of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, not to be distracted by any other petty issues in life. This is a time where we come together to grieve, to mourn, and to remember the masaib of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, and pass it on generation after generation in the same way that it came to us. As we remember the istishhad of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if we can dim out the lights as we turn our hearts and minds towards the calamities of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah ajma'in. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. People say to us that you don't love Rasulullah enough. You Shia, you love Ali more than Muhammad. You love Imam Hussain more than you love Rasulullah. You love them, but you don't love Rasulullah. And we can equally ask the same question. You love the friends of the Prophet more than you love Rasulullah. Yes? Could be said equally the same. But who did Rasulullah love? Who did he love? Who did he smile when he saw? Who did he cry for? Look at every tradition, every narration. Even in Maidani Karbala, when they wanted to kill Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salamullah in his final moments, one of the Mal'uns ran away. They said, "Where are you running?" He said, "I saw him and I recalled how Rasulullah used to kiss his lips when he was a baby. I can't kill him." This is Ali Rasul, this is the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But of all those whom Rasulullah loved, there was one particular member of the household who was the dearest and nearest to Rasulullah. And not only because she was his child, but because of her manzila and her martaba with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All narrations tell us that when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was born, he was born orphaned. His father had passed away long before his birth. and his mother soon after. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never understood what it meant to have a mother. You talk to any yatim today, there isn't anything that you can give them that will compensate the absence of parents. Talk to a gharib, a person who is estranged, traveling far away from their parents. Tell them, what can compensate you for the absence of your mother's voice? Nothing. Rasulullah, his entire childhood, never heard the voice of his mother, never had that compassion. When he married Bibi Khadija alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a child that he called Al-Kawthar. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. We have given you the abundant wealth. This child of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when Rasulullah used to come back from the dawah missions he would go on, and people would pelt him with stones. They would pelt him with stones. When he came home, it was the young Fatima at the age of 3 who used to bring a small pot with water and a cloth in her hand, and she would wipe the wounds of Rasulullah. And she would bandage the wounds, and she would say to him, "Don't worry, father, Allah has revealed that you will be victorious. Is it not so?" Rasulullah would hold her hands, he would kiss her hands and say, "Fatimatun ummu abiha." Fatima is the mother of her father. He never felt like an orphan after he had this child. So connected with Fatima to Zahra alayhi salamullah that when he left Medina, the last person he would visit would be her. And when he returned, the first person he would visit would be her. They asked him why. He said that if I die on the journey, then the last one I want to remember, the face I last saw, I wanted to be the face of my child, Fatima. And when I return, the face I want to see first is the face of my child, Fatima. Rasulullah treated her in a way that he did not treat anybody else in the entire Muslim community. Whenever she entered a room that he was sitting in, he would stand up and ask her to sit in his place, and he will relocate. And whenever he walked into a room, she would stand up and ask him to sit where she was sitting. Yet people don't even mention her name in their masajid, and they say they love Rasulullah, and when we mention her name, we don't love Rasulullah. In his final moments, the Holy Prophet of Islam, on a night such as this, at the time of his istishhad, he called Fatima alayhi salam close to him. He whispered something in her right ear that made her weep and cry and lament. And then he whispered something in her left ear, and then she began to smile. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam departed from this world. Amir al-Mu'mineen asked Fatima to Zahra. He said to her, "Oh Fatima, I saw that Rasulullah whispered something to you that made you weep. Then he whispered something to you that made you smile." She said, "When he whispered the first thing to me, he was lamenting himself and the calamities that will befall his children after him, Imam Hussain and Hussain." Yes. Rasulullah was weeping for Karbala even in his final moments. She said, "And his sorrow and sadness for them made me sad." He said, "And what made you smile, O Fatima?" She said, "When he began to lament my tragedy. When he began to tell me how I would die. That made me smile. Because he told me it will only be 6 months from now. And therefore I'm happy that I'm not going to be far away from my father Rasulullah for too long. My reunion with Muhammad will be very soon, yes?" Less than 6 months after the istishhad of Rasulullah, they are burning the house of Fatima. And less than 6 months after Rasulullah's istishhad, they are attacking and causing her to miscarry her child. And less than 6 months after the istishhad of Rasulullah, where in that entire period Fatima was going to the grave of Rasulullah every day at least once. On the final day of her short-lived life in this dunya, Imam Hussain and Hussain alayhim salamullah, they come, she used to dress them up nicely. When you go to Rasulullah, you go wearing your best. And she would dress them up nicely daily when they're about to head out to the ziyarah. And the narration says Imam al-Hassan and Hussain came wearing their best. And they saw something strange. For the first time during the day, Fatima Zahra alayhi salamullah hasn't left her bed. She was busy all the time. Tasbih, salah, preparing food for her children, her family. They said, "Mother, why are you still in bed? And are we not going to see our grandfather Rasulullah today? Are we not going to his grave?" She said, "Your mother is not feeling so well. So you go. And insha'Allah, if I am well, I will join you. And if not, I will be going back to sleep," meaning the eternal sleep. The narration says Imam Hassan and Hussain were seen running for the first time in Medina towards the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They were going in haste. And they were overheard Imam Hussain saying to Imam Hassan, "I have never seen Mother Fatima in this state. So I'm worried. Let's quickly go do the ziyarah and let us go back to make sure that Mother Fatima is well." In that time, the narration says that Fatima to Zahra calls Asma bint Umays. She says to her, "Asma, I feel that the time has come for me to return to my Lord. But I am worried when Hassan and Hussain come home, they will see that their mother has passed away and their father Ali is not back yet. So do me this one favor, when they come home, make sure they don't come into my room until their father Imam Ali has come back, so that when they see the shock that their mother has departed from this world, that their father is there to comfort them." Yes, she's a mother, she's compassionate, she's thinking of her children when she's no longer able to help them. She says to her, "Asma, I will be in my room, you will hear the Quran being recited. Asma, when you no longer hear the Quran, know that I have returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." Asma says, "I sat there listening to the most beautiful recitation of the Quran until suddenly it was silent. I walked into the room, I turned my face towards the grave of Rasulullah and said, 'Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah.' She has returned unto you." Yes, she says, within those moments, Imam Hassan and Hussain entered into the house. They were asking, "Where is our mother Fatima?" I tried to keep the door closed for a while. I said to them, "Go and eat. Your mother is sleeping. She is resting." Imam Hussain alayhi salam says, "Asma, since when have you known me to eat a morsel without my mother?" Yes, I want to go see my mother. She said, "I don't want you to disturb her." She said, Imam Hussain said to her, "Asma, and when did you know me to be a disturbance to my mother? My mother always says she is never happy until I am back at her side." They walk into the room. The narration says Imam Hussain says, "Assalamu alayki ya Umma ya Fatima to Zahra," but there is no response. The narration says Imam Hassan sat next to the head of Fatima, Abu Abdullah at her feet. Imam Hassan and Hussain are calling on to their mother. One is 4 years old, one is 7 years old. They are calling to their mother Fatima, but she is not responding. Imam Hassan alayhi salamullah looks at the face of his mother. He looks at Imam al-Hussain. He says, "Abu Abdullah, may Allah compensate us for our loss." He says to him, "Imam Hassan, what are you saying?" He says, "Mother Fatima has returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." The narration says Imam Hussain began to kiss the feet of his mother Fatima. Yes, the narration tells us what else happened. Imam Ali alayhi salamullah came into the room And he removed everyone away from Fatima alayhi salam. He saw how everyone was crying, yes? And then it came to the time where Imam Ali was saying to everyone, please do not cry so much, do not cry so much, because death is normal. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Walakin ajrukum ala Allah. Asma bint Umayy says, when Imam Ali was doing the ghusl of Fatima to Zahra alayhi salam, Allah ghusl mayyit. Yes, ya Imam Zaman, I ask your permission. The narration says that when Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allah was doing the ghusl, at one moment he cried out, Ya Rasul Allah. Then he fell to the ground and he began to cry. Asma says, like a child. Asma says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you are the one who was stopping us from crying. Why are you crying so much? Tell us what happened. He says, Asma, I felt the broken ribs with my own hand. Yes, ajrukum ala Allah. At this moment, Imam Hussain and Hussain come to say fi amanullah to their mother. The narration says that Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allah narrates, he says, Imam Hussain and Hussain threw themselves at their mother. If Asma came to remove them, I said, Asma, let them cry, let them see their mother, for once she is buried, they will never see her again. The narration says that Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, Allah says, Mother Fatima, talk to me, but there is no response. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Allah says, Mother Fatima, I ask you by Rasulullah, at least do not depart from us. You know, he doesn't want to lose his mother. The narration says, he says, Ummah, ana ghareebu Karbala. Mother, I am the estranged of Karbala. I am the thirsty of Karbala. I am the madloom of Karbala. Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allah says, Asma, move Hussein from his mother Fatima. She says, Ali, but you just said leave him. He says, Asma, Jibreel is saying, Ya Ali, remove Hussein from Fatima, for he is shattering the heart of Muhammad and all the malaika. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. لا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون. إلهي وسيدي ومولاي. We ask you بحق فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها يا أرحم الراحمين، عجل لوليك الفرج وسهل مخرجه، واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والداعين إلى سبيله والذابين عنه والمستشهدين بين يديه. Oh Allah, we ask you to make us worthy of the Hujjah. Bless our eyes with a vision of him, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Bless our limbs with service to him, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Bless our tongues that they may speak of his name and call people to his way, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Protect the hijab of our sisters and the hijab of our brothers by the haqq of the hijab of Zainab al-Kubra. Give shafa to our mareed by the haqq of Bimari Karbala, Zain al-Abidin wa Sayyid al-Sajideen. Return our ghurabat back to their homes safe and sound by the haqq of Ghareeb Karbala, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Oh Allah, we complain to you about the absence of our Imam and the number of our enemies and the weakness of our own number and the poverty of our state. So hasten with the reappearance of the Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. Bless our eyes with him, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, and fill this world with peace and prosperity through him in the way that it has been filled with troubles and calamity, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. For our marhumeen, and for the marhumeen of Sa'ir al-Mu'mineen wal-Mu'minat, especially the marhumeen of those who have died on Wilayat Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad, and the marhumeen of those who make these majalis azar possible and the dhikri of the Ahlul Bayt can continue. رحم الله من أهداهم ثواب سورة المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
और मोहम्मद अहले बैत मोहम्मद सलावत। फिर भी खानदान ज़हरा पर मिलकर सलवात पढ़ लें। मैं आपको बहुत काफ़ी समझते हुए लंतर सलवात पढ़ दें खानदान ज़हरा पे। ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ ہاتھ پہلو پہ لیے ہاتھ پہلو پہ لیے لوٹی جناب سیدہ یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ اس طرح تحریر کے ٹکڑے اڑے دربار میں اس طرح تحریر کے ٹکڑے اڑے دربار میں بھول پائے گی نہ بی بی بھول پائے گی نہ بی بی وقت حاکم کی جفا یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ آگ لے کے سیدہ کا گھر جلانے آ گئے آگ لے کے سیدہ کا گھر جلانے آ گئے اپنے محسن کو دیا کیا اپنے محسن کو دیا کیا خوب امت نے سلا یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ بعد تیری امت کے ہے بدلے یوں مزاج بعد تیری امت کے ہے بدلے یوں مزاج میں کھڑی تھی اور بیٹھے تھے سبھی وہ بے حیا یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ یوں ملاجر رسالت بعد احمد مصطفیٰ اور محمد علیہ بیت محمد صلوات زیب سے درخواست کرتا ہوں کہ وہ ممبر پہ آئیں اور ذکر محمد علیہ بیت محمد بیان فرمائیں جہاں کہیں بھی میری آواز سن رہے ہیں اگر آپ کو آواز آ رہی ہے تو جلد از جلد ممبر پہ تشریف لے آئیں بر محمد علیہ بیت محمد صلوات آپ حضرات سے گزارش ہے کہ جو ہال کے باہر بیٹھے ہیں وہ ذرا تکلیف کر کے ہال کے اندر تشریف لے آئیں تاکہ زینت مجلس میں کوئی فرق نہ آئے بر محمد اہل بیت محمد صلوات چار مصرے پیش کر رہے ہیں اگر آپ اجازت دیتے ہیں ماحول بن جائے منصور صاحب مصرے پیش کرو جی نہیں وہ ان کو میں نے کہتا اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان اللعین الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم بآواز بلند نعرہ صلوات یہ بات مان لیجئے، یہ بات مان لیجئے تکرار کے بغیر، یہ بات مان لیجئے تکرار کے بغیر، محشر نہ ہوگا 12ویں سرکار کے بغیر، قائم لگائیں گے عباس کا علم، کعبہ بنا ہے اس لیے مینار کے بغیر، نعرہ حیدری۔ پھر بھی صلوات پڑھ دے خاندان زہرا پہ مل کے۔
اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد۔
غالب النار الصلوات۔
اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد۔
غالب النار الصلوات۔
اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد۔
ریکارڈ درود بھیجے محمد والے محمد۔
اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد۔
ذکر جب زینب مضطر کا بیان ہوتا ہے، ذکر جب زینب